From the best of the best becoming dead weight for Team USA to fans wanting her social media accounts banned, here's why Sha'Carri Richardson is the most controversial sprinter ever. Before being known for her many scandals, though, the American track and field athlete was considered the best of the best. It all started in 2019 when a fresh-faced Sha'Carri broke the collegiate 100-meter record. The Louisiana State University alum sprinted through the course in 10.75 seconds, leaving everyone with their jaws on the ground. That was pretty much it. Sha'Carri made it on everyone's radar, attracting brand deals left and right, and growing her social media presence to become an international superstar. The sprinter then went on to beat her own record and was declared the 4th fastest American woman in history and the 6th fastest worldwide. Of course, Sha'Carri won more than a few medals and trophies along the way. She won gold in the 100-meter relay at the U20 Championship in 2017, gold again in the 100-meter at Budapest's World Championships in 2023, and, you guessed it, gold in the women's 100-meter relay at the World Championships. Sha'Carri's professional debut, or lack thereof, started a global debate on cannabis. The American sprinter was the nation's holy grail for the 2020 Summer Olympics, and Sha'Carri outshined her competition once again, with a record time of 10.86 seconds at the 2020 U.S. Olympic trials. That was a whole 0.13 seconds faster than the runner-up, Javianne Oliver. With Sha'Carri in their arsenal, the U.S. team was sure they'd take home gold at the Olympics. That never happened. In fact, Jamaica made a podium sweep in the women's 100. Was Sha'Carri not at the top of her game? Honestly, we might never know. She wasn't there. Shortly after stunning at the qualifiers, it was revealed that Sha'Carri had tested positive for cannabis. Her blood work contained THC metabolites, indicating recent marijuana use. This obviously meant that Sha'Carri would face an immediate suspension. She voluntarily agreed to a 1-month suspension, which saw her missing out on the women's 100 meters. She could have participated in the women's relay race, but her doping scandal and the optics of it all saw her missing out on her first Olympic event entirely. Sha'Carri agreed to go to counseling for the incident, but her fans petitioned for USADA to overlook the incident. There were many people in the sprinter's corner who believed that doping laws were unnecessarily strict, especially considering that the United States had already legalized cannabis in certain areas. President Joe Biden got involved too, asking USADA to reconsider their policies. In response, however, the association claimed that the rules were there for a reason, and petitioning for a rule change for an Olympic qualifier would be problematic. Now, while many people supported Sha'Carri through it all, there were a few who thought the 20-year-old was being reckless. Becoming the 6th fastest woman in history is a pretty big achievement, and obviously, Sha'Carri was flying high with the fame that came with her record. Then, once the doping incident came to light, many people thought that Sha'Carri acted irresponsibly. People took to Twitter to say that Sha'Carri probably thought she was untouchable because of how media outlets had already pegged her for gold. After all that backlash, the sprinter made a public apology, where she claimed that the only reason why she smoked a prohibited substance was to cope with the death of her biological mother. In hindsight, Sha'Carri had learned of her mother's death through a reporter who asked her to comment on it just days before the qualifiers. She'd been raised by her grandmother and was estranged from her biological mother. Still, it hit Sha'Carri pretty hard. The sprinter also claimed that she'd smoked marijuana in Oregon, where it was legal. Her apology, and the fact that this was just the start of her professional career, meant that everyone eventually found a way to move past the first incident. Yeah, you heard that right. This was just the first of many controversies that would jeopardize Sha'Carri's career. The sprinter regretted her Today Show appearance. After the dust from the doping scandal settled down, Sha'Carri went on Twitter to blast the USADA and express regret over her Today Show appearance. The sprinter had responded to an interview request after her suspension, in which she expressed remorse and took responsibility for her actions. She told everyone about the pain she was in after learning her mother had passed away and that she was aware of the rules set by the USADA, but acted on high emotion back then. The interview made it seem like Sha'Carri was only upset with herself. However, fast forward to a year later, and the sprinters asking for higher-ups in the USADA to be held accountable for their apparent lack of transparency. That's right. In 2021, it was Sha'Carri Richardson versus the USADA. She went on to post several tweets against the organization and claimed that they had no idea of the pressure athletes were under. She also alleged that the organization had won out against her and that she was discriminated against. That's a bold claim to make, right? To back up that claim, Sha'Carri asked why the International Olympic Committee let Kamila Valieva participate. For context, the Russian figure skater made international headlines when it was revealed that she'd participated in the Beijing Olympics, despite failing a mandated doping test. It wasn't so much the fact that she'd failed and was still allowed to participate, but her results didn't come back until after the Olympics had started and the team event had already concluded. Obviously, this infuriated Sha'Carri, and she asked why Kamila was treated with more leniency, to the point that the IOC stood by her, whereas the American sprinter had to miss out on making her professional debut. The IOC actually responded, which it rarely does. They claimed that the allegation that Sha'Carri was discriminated against was unfounded because each case is different. In Kamila's case, it was a matter of oversight and delay, whereas in Sha'Carri's case, repercussions were already in place a month before the Olympics. Also, Kamila was a minor at the time, and the IOC kept that fact in mind while dealing with the figure skater's case. This wasn't enough for Sha'Carri, who continued to claim that the IOC had discriminated against her. So far, Sha'Carri's picked fights with USADA, IOC, and apparently The Today Show. Next came the people who helped her reach mainstream fame. Besides being known for being one of the fastest women alive, Sha'Carri is known for mimicking FloJo's signature style at events. This includes wearing otherwise outlandish athletic wear and participating with long, colorful nails, with thick eyelashes on. It doesn't keep her from reaching the top, that's for sure. Still, people have claimed that Sha'Carri could never live up to FloJo's fame, and that's not because she's not an incredibly talented athlete, it's because she doesn't know when to stop talking. Sha'Carri participated at the Prefontaine Classic in Oregon in 2021, where she placed dead last at 10th place. Obviously, this came as a shock to just about everyone, except Sha'Carri herself. Either she knew she was out of practice, or she was putting up a brave face. Many people thought it was the second of the two, because when reporters asked her to comment on the shocking upset, Sha'Carri claimed that she was still the 6th fastest woman in the world, and no one could take that away from her. This left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. You see, Sha'Carri's rise to mainstream stardom came because of her skills. That part's true. Today, though, she's not remembered for any of her crowning achievements in track and field, but instead for the many controversies she's been a part of. She developed a huge social media presence after her 2019 record-breaking event. People followed her back then because they wanted to be a part of history. Today, they're just there for the show. Frankly, Sha'Carri needs her social media accounts handled by a professional. You see, after failing to qualify for the World Championships in 2022, Sha'Carri threatened to sue Athletics Weekly for covering the news. Fans were quick to troll the sprinter, claiming that she couldn't handle the fact that she went from being a prized possession on Team USA to becoming dead weight. Sha'Carri's not that, first of all, but it's getting harder every day to defend her from the hate. Can't defend someone who has a meltdown on a plane, after all. So, on January 2023, Sha'Carri claimed that she was harassed by a flight attendant on an American Airlines flight. Her evidence was a video of the entire ordeal that ended with everyone turning against her. Sha'Carri claimed that a flight attendant tried to threaten her and was treating her like a child. The video showed that the flight attendant was only following protocol when he asked Sha'Carri to turn off her phone during takeoff. This turned into a screaming match, where Sha'Carri kept reiterating the fact that she wasn't a child. Things got so heated that people in the background started shouting at Sha'Carri to either calmly sit back down or get off the plane. Reddit had a field day with the video, with one Redditor commenting, "Providing evidence at your own trial? Not a smart move, Sha'Carri. I couldn't have said it any better, honestly." Now, besides that one event that placed her on the map, the American sprinter's known for everything besides, well, sprinting. Do you think she jeopardized her own career? Anyway, from fans wanting her social media accounts banned to the best of the best becoming dead weight for Team USA, that was why Sha'Carri Richardson is the most controversial sprinter.